All right, welcome girls and boys to the drive-through. And this is Ms. Bustamante today. Mr. Olin did not make a video for task 1.9, so I am going to fill in for him today. And we're looking at arithmetic sequences, which is pretty important to remember that these are arithmetic sequences because we are adding a common difference. And we're trying to find the missing terms showing our method that we're using. So I wanted to share with you a formula and how I got this formula, because that's the method that I think that we're trying to build up to. So arithmetic sequences, like I said, we are adding some D, some common difference. We're adding this, okay? And we don't know what it is right now, but we know we're adding something. And we've already kind of talked about this, that arithmetic sequences really do follow linear. They are a linear relationship, so they can be written in this y equals mx plus b form. And this is great because I'm going to use this idea to try and solve what is d. So I'm going to kind of work backwards here. So I'm going to start with my starting point, so to speak. And I'm going to think, okay, I'm starting at 5. And I know that I'm adding how many times? 1, 2 times. I'm adding 2 times whatever the common difference is. And that is going to end up giving me where I ended up, which is 11. Now, that D here in our, and maybe I'll use a different color here just to really emphasize it. This D in our linear equation is the same thing as M, right? The common difference is the slope. They're the same thing. It's our rate of change, the slope. And we used to have, not used to, we still have a formula for slope that you should have used in 8th grade. And that formula went something like this. So you knew that M equaled the y value of some point minus the y value of a second point. So, and then you would divide that by the x value. So this is like a point minus the x value that's associated with the y. So that's what those subnotations mean. So, and maybe I'll make this a little more clear. This would be like on a graph, if you had 2 points, let's just call it x sub 2 comma y sub 2. And you had another point, let's call it x sub 1 comma y sub 1. And you wanted to find the slope between these 2 points, you could plug these numbers, whatever the values for these points are, into this formula, and you could find the slope. Well, it turns out, if you think about it, this is a point, right? This is an x and a y. So if we call this our sub, I'm just going to call it my x sub 1 and my y sub 1 over here. And this is also a point. So this is my x sub 2 comma y sub 2. Okay, these ones right here. And I just want to show you that the thinking is the same. Let me switch to some color here so I can show you. So I'm just going to solve this equation and show you how it matches up with this slope formula that you're already aware of. So if I subtract 5 from both sides of this equation, right? Subtracting 5. And then I am dividing by 2 to get rid of this multiplying by 2. Okay. Let's see if this matches up with our formula over here. So the 11 right here, that is our y sub 2. So it's in our y sub 2 right there. and we are subtracting y sub 1. And this one minus 5, that's our y sub 1 over here. So that checks out. Now let's see if the 2 really, when you think about it, it came from the fact that we are taking 3 and subtracting 1. So 3 minus 1, so I'm just going to write over this. This is just 3 minus 1. Or in other words, it's our x sub 2 on this side minus the x sub 1 over on this side. And that gives us 6 over 2, which is the same thing as 3. And we could check it. So 5 plus 3 is 8, and 8 plus 3 is 11. It does check out. So the common difference is just the same thing as this slope right here. Okay, let's try it again in number 2. Hopefully it won't be as messy as this, and it will make more sense if it didn't make sense the first time. So here we go. So let's call this our x1, y1. I'm going to even write it as a point. So I'm going to write it as 1, 18. Because that's really what it is. It's a point on a graph. And then we have this other point. We're going to call this our x sub 2 and y sub 2. I'm going to write it out as a point. So 5, negative 10. Okay. Now remember, our formula for the slope is we're going to take y sub 2. So that's this one right here. Y sub 2. Negative 10, and it says we're supposed to subtract y sub 1. Well, that's the y over here, 18. So we're going to subtract 18, and then we're going to put that all over x sub 2. Well, remember, this is our second point over here, the 5, and really you can make sure you're doing this correctly because the same point system should be over each other, and we are subtracting x sub 1, which is the x over here, the 1. And with some mental math, negative 10 minus 18 is negative 28 divided by 4, which gives us negative 7. We can check this out. So minus 7, we have 11, minus 7, give us 4. Minus 7, negative 3, and minus 7 gives us negative 10. So remember, this is helping us find the d, which is the same thing as the slope. If you have any further questions, I don't want to do all the problems for you. I want you to think, try this out, reach out if you have any questions. Have a great day.